Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, it's been a tough past few days for Bitcoin. The cryptocurrency has slipped approximately 10% from the $10,100 monthly high to a recent low of $8,800. Triggered by fears that Satoshi Nakamoto is dumping his Bitcoin. There's the little stupid chart right there. While those rumors have been disproven by blockchain analytics companies, Bitcoin has yet to recover. Worse yet, when it topped that 10,100, it printed a high lower than February's 10,500 high, indicating that Bitcoin remains in a macro bear market. Despite the over 150% rally from March's $3,700 lows. Yet a key technical indicator, one prominent cryptocurrency analyst says, indicating that Bitcoin is still high time frame bullish. On-chain analyst Peter Swift recently identified that the dynamic range NVT signal, dubbed a price to earnings ratio for Bitcoin, has started to push higher over recent weeks. It's a sign that Swift says is highly bullish for Bitcoin in the long run. He said dynamic range NVTs or NVTS has been closing up above the lower green band. This is high time frame bullish. Previous NVT signal lost its efficiency over time. This version with dynamic bands is much more useful as an oversold, overbought tool for strategic investing. This was written by Swift. Why we ourselves would be in any type of bearish anything based off of what happened yesterday is completely nonsensical. The idea that something happened, something was moved, and therefore Bitcoin is somehow damaged and or not going to be able to recover is nonsense. So depending on where you look for cryptocurrency news right now, there are a lot of websites who are talking about the fact that Bitcoin dropped at all shows a weakness and a bearishness and a so-and-so and a blah, blah, blah in the market. You see very few websites talking about that Bitcoin is still in this bullish range, if you will. Once again, no fundamentals have changed. None at all. Some coins were moved. And apparently a lot of analytics firms are now saying, no, it was not Satoshi. They're figuring out if it was from other wallets or it was a so-and-so or whatever the case might be. Literally, who cares? The point being, yeah, we're still fundamentally fundamental. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, new data based on the delta between Chinese buyers and derivatives markets in Bitcoin markets suggests that much of the recent rally has been driven by crypto investors in China. But why are Chinese buyers dominating Bitcoin interest? And what is the sparking this usual, I can't read. And what is sparking the unusual, that's a weird sentence for what it's worth. And what is sparking the unusual phenomenon? Bitcoin's price may have fallen currently, but it has spent the last 2 months making a sharp recovery after March 2020. The sell-off that what they say was fueled by 19, but we all know that it wasn't. And now that dreadworthy day, a massive upsurge in Chinese buyers can be seen, according to an indicator a well-known Bitcoin researcher has shared via Twitter. That same indicator is now showing yet another surge of buying interest from Chinese crypto investors, suggesting they are ferociously buying the dip. The analyst makes no assertions about what this may mean and just presents the cold, hard facts about the data, leaving the speculation up to the rest of the cryptocurrency space. There's his chart right there. It says as to why this may be occurring, it could be down to a variety of reasons. China's president urged his country to remain on the forefront of the blockchain technology back in October 2019, resulting in a record-breaking rally, which we spoke about also yesterday as well. For those of you who did not see the video, go see it. I ranted. I blacked out. It was just tons of rant. The portion of it was when you have the president, the higher up of a country, telling billions of people, if not in general anyone in your country, look into this. Clearly, at some point, you're going to have a huge amount of spillover that's also going to run over into the cryptocurrency space. The lingering impact of those comments could be added to the growing interest from Chinese buyers. Oh yeah, for those of you who also were not here last year, October 2019, the day these comments came out from China's president, I think Bitcoin jumped by 15% or something like that as well. It was this, not many countries around the world are telling, no other countries on the planet are telling their citizens to look into blockchain, to figure out what blockchain is, learn how to invest in blockchain and or create blockchains for companies. It's just not happening. So of course, logically, they are probably at the forefront of this because, you know, logic. It could also be due to China rolling out its own digital currency soon, so citizens in the country are getting themselves more familiar with digital currency technology. Far more likely yet, due to the increased trade tensions between the US and China, and the fact that the Chinese economy is still under 19, what have you, it could be, it's just basic logic. Everything that's been happening there, for those of you who have not been paying attention to the stuff that's been happening within China, it's clear that they are farther ahead than everyone else. I think they see the writing on the wall. As far as, I mean, whatever. This is not a political channel. It's more like if the US president had also announced, everyone in the country, look into blockchain, find out what crypto is, had sent a PDF to all the people within the country, I think we'd see a huge, not only an upsurge in the amount of people into cryptocurrencies in the US, we'd also see that huge shift of mining activity also almost focus and shift exclusively heavily to the United States, because when the US really gets into something, it really like drives it home. Anyway, yeah, of course, China is going to dominate because their president was like, look into this. When you tell 1 billion people to do something, at least half of them are going to do it. So yeah, let's move on. In crazy news, Coinbase.com has launched support for OmiseGO as the major American crypto exchange and wallet provider continues to ramp up the number of altcoins available for trading. The new coin is now available for retail investors, that's everyday normal people, through the company's Android and iOS apps. Announced last week, Coinbase has enabled OmiseGO trading on the exchange's professional platform known as Coinbase Pro. Effective the 18th of May, Coinbase Pro users were able to make OmiseGO transfers and will be able soon to buy and sell OmiseGO with the US dollar and Bitcoin. The announcement triggered a 31% surge in the price of OmiseGO, which is currently trading at 153. I think OmiseGO is actually even higher right now. Before I started the video, I looked at the charts and it was the only thing that was in green. It was a very interesting thing to see. The latest member of Coinbase's supported coins also reacted to the news last week when it added to the institutional venue, rising nearly over 20%. The trade volume over the past 24 hours showed growth with a reported value of 347 million US dollars. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We don't hear about OmiseGO for months. The last we heard about OmiseGO, I believe, was last summer. I think they had updated their, what's it called? Their roadmap, and I think they were also, I don't remember. I think they were part of the Plasma team. I can't remember the exact specifics of exactly what was going on with OmiseGO, but it's been many moons. It has not been relatively recently. And yeah, the price is completely skyrocketing. I'm expecting a pullback, of course, but I'm hoping in some sort of way this is actually a segue to the people from OmiseGO being like, hey, yeah, we're actually good. We're launching out of beta. Everything's so-and-so, OmiseGO, go. And anyway, yeah, that's the OmiseGO news. Very surprising. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's shocked at the almost near, if not already, doubling in price of the coin and the movement that it's had. Hopefully it does good. As in, like, does good things for people and also does well in price. Anyway, that's the OmiseGO news. It's officially on normal Coinbase, like I said it would be, because they always go pro and then normal Coinbase. Without further ado, let's move on. Next up, in a recent Cointelegraph interview, Charles Hoskinson elaborated on the crypto-native chip that Input Output Hong Kong is working on at its blockchain lab at the University of Wyoming that may lead to many groundbreaking use cases, including a cash-like experience for cryptocurrency. It all began when IOHK, the company charged with the development of Cardano, or ADA, began exploring supply chain use cases and realized that there were no chips on the market that could satisfy its requirements. Embeddability, ability to store cryptographic keys, and being inexpensive to produce. They said, really what we notice is that there's unfortunately no market standard right now for open source trusted hardware that's sufficiently powerful that could be used with cryptocurrency but could also be used in the supply chain. Hoskinson stressed that all the work being done on the chip will remain open source and will not only benefit Cardano, but rather the entire crypto community. The chip could be used in a variety of supply chain use cases, including the authentication and management of luxury goods. For instance, it could also be used to determine authenticity of Louis Vuitton handbags or for managing access to limited edition Lamborghini purchases. Sure, this is actually, I mean, and I'll give it a light air quote. This is an issue right now where people making luxury goods that are not from the luxury brands, they're kind of spot on right now. So a lot of people are asking for authentication in what they buy because for some reason that's a thing. Yeah, so this is another thing that Cardano says that they're doing. They're creating crypto native microchips that would allow for a fiat-like experience for millions around the world. Cool. Let's see if they make it. Let's see if they launch it. And I don't say that sarcastically. If you've been here for the last couple of years, we have seen thousands of initiatives, whether it be for Bitcoin, on Ether, on Litecoin, on any other coin, that things get proposed, but they don't always come to fruition. Remember these 16 different private transaction things that we had heard about for Bitcoin? None of which have actually been used. I think only 2 are slightly being proposed. But things always happen within cryptocurrency companies or cryptocurrency initiatives or groups where they say that they're going to do something or are looking into something, but as time goes on, they end up not doing it. If they create it, cool. It's another use case or usage of Cardano and their blockchain, because I assume that these chips would also be linked directly to Cardano, and therefore any authentication happening within Louis Vuitton and or Lamborghini would be going through their systems. But let's see if it actually ends up happening, because, you know, time. Anyway, let's move on. Wow, that's not obvious news. And I quote, "There is no country with more to lose from the disruptive potential of digital currency than the United States," end quote. So goes the stark warning from analysts at the US's largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, in a new report covered by Bloomberg News on the 22nd of May. The report's authors, among them, JP Morgan's head of US interest rate derivative strategy, Josh Younger, and chief U.S. economist Michael Feroli wrote, "This revolves primarily around U.S. dollar homogeny, including the global reserve currency and the medium of exchange for international trade in commodities, goods, and services conveys immense advantages." While the analysts do not anticipate the dollar losing its global status anytime soon, they pointed to some of the weaker links in the currency's dominance, including in trade settlement and the SWIFT messaging system. That's right. SWIFT, for those of you who do not know, is not a money system. It is a messaging system. Messages get bounced back and forth about 15 times through countries, and that's how you get your money. That's why it takes so long, because it's a messaging system from the 1970s. Also not a joke. SWIFT was notably a key lower and imposing sanctions on the Iranian regime, falling into line with the U.S. administration and suspending access for Iranian banks back in 2018. This caused tension, of course, with the European bloc, where finance ministers had attempted and ultimately failed to exempt the cross-border payments network from the restrictions. Some contend the SWIFT suspension violated European Union laws. For those of you who do not understand a word of what I just said, the situation that we have right now is that the largest, most powerful country on the planet can pretty much tell other countries what they can and cannot do. That's a problem. Imagine you're your own country. I walk into your house and I go, stop, sit down, do that. No, you can't eat that. No, you can have that. You would lose your mind. So the situation that we have building, and that is currently working its way forward, I don't know how to finish that sentence, is that a lot of other countries, mainly the countries who are under sanctions or who are actually outside of the current global financial system, which runs on the back of the US dollar, have been told, no, sit down, you can't do that. If you've been paying attention, the last 3 years, I don't know how many, I think 9 countries are under like sanctions, like heavy sanctions. They've been in the news a lot recently, and they've pretty much all come together either in discussions of creating their own central bank digital currencies. There have been rumors that they've been buying Bitcoin. A lot of them have created cryptocurrency Bitcoin mining as its actual own global industry. So it's clear that behind the scenes, this has also happened before. People have made heroic attempts to get away at the US dollar, and they've been backhanded to the floor. But as of now, it is a real thing, because Bitcoin is real, Bitcoin is strong, and logically they're probably realizing, hey, no one controls Bitcoin, and therefore we can all just use Bitcoin. Or even logically, they can create their own little economy amongst themselves. Like, there are many other countries who would still be willing to work with them. Anyway, so yeah, that's that part. Were countries able to circumvent SWIFT, JP Morgan notes, the United States would find itself less able to achieve its geopolitical strategic goals, which is dominating everyone else, which in part relies upon the greenback's global dominance. For those of you who also do not know, a lot of accords happened after WW2, where pretty much every other country, they were told, if you are going to do trade, if you are going to swap money, if you are going to do anything, while it may happen with your currency behind the scenes, it has to all be moving in US dollars. That's why it's also called the petrodollar. Because also many countries around the world, when they deal in petrol or oil, all things have to be done in the US dollar, and this is how the US dollar maintains its dominance. According to analysts, eventually this will end, as all things do, but it seems that cryptocurrencies are speeding up the process rather quickly. I always think myself, it's quite fascinating when we get news like this. It's because that these discussions have been happening behind the scenes for quite a while, and at some point they trickle down to us in an article somewhere online. When the US's largest bank declares the US dollar may be in trouble because of the central bank digital currencies and or digital currencies in general, it is usually worth noting. So only time will tell how this is going to happen. Many countries already don't like SWIFT. They are using alternatives to SWIFT. And I honestly don't see SWIFT lasting for much longer, because realistically, in the most honest way, would you, let's say everyone listening to this right now, if all of you could band together and tell me, no, we're not going to use TMI coin, and you simply all just use Bitcoin, what can I do about it? I mean, I can scream and I can fight and I can have another rant video, but at the end of it, you all just sit there and go, anyway, so how much Bitcoin do you need? And it kind of continues this way. That's the most simplified way. We all know it's going to go down a lot dirtier. Anyway, yeah, that's the JP Morgan Chase. It says US dollar at risk from central bank digital FX. It's not even that is going to happen. It is happening. And that's just how the crumble cookies. Let's move on. In wow, I'm so surprised news, crypto trading in Russia, according to the country's government, would be an offense where the culprit would actually go to jail. Can you imagine exchanging numbers on the screen? Even more so, I'm pretty sure trading stocks back and forth are not illegal, but trading numbers on a screen back and forth, you got to go to jail. This is part of the draft bill setting out how Russia would or should regulate cryptocurrencies that were sent to the country's parliament, the State Duma, earlier this week. The draft bill would regulate cryptos in the country, prohibit issuance and operation digital currencies in the country. Distributing information about such activities also would be banned. Wow. So not only can you not do it, you also can't distribute information about it. That sounds completely fair to me. Local news sources in Russia Today, reported that the country's parliament is worried about how cryptos are being used for illegals and are trying to prevent such. They reported that very soon the country's government would begin imposing fines of the equivalent of 7,000 US dollars, or culprits would serve 7 years in jail for crypto trading in Russia. I want you to understand exactly how powerful Bitcoin is right now. I want you to really get it. I want you to have these 3 tiny sentence paragraphs as the cornerstone for exactly how powerful cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin are. Do you know how threatened you have to be as a country to not only not allow people to not trade something that has value within their country, to say that they would be fined $7,000 for trading? You cannot distribute information about how to trade, and you also have the possibility of having 7 years in jail. Remember, we were talking about what other country did this a couple of months ago? People were mentioning in the comment section, I'm from this country. It wasn't Russia, it was some other country. And they were saying there are other activities where I can't name said activities, but the worst possible things that could be done to people. There are generally 3. I'm sure your mind thought of some of them. They were like, yeah, you get around a year or 2 of that in jail after doing those activities. And I think the penalty for cryptocurrency trading was 15 years. Can you imagine how afraid you have to be as a country to threaten people with 7 years? You know how long 7 years is in jail for trading numbers on a screen? Think of that. Imagine I meet you one day, me and you in the park. You go, actually, I'm actually kind of hungry. Can you give me that apple and I swap my crypto to you, or we decide to have a bet and we trade crypto or some type of a bet, some type of value, and then you get 7 years in jail? That's a bit insane. This is happening all over the place. This is happening in many countries around the world. They understand the threat of it. And this is why we've seen the SEC slam down so hard on so many different cryptocurrency companies who've been trying to just even make fun coins or coins on a different network or coins on a so-and-so. It's because it undermines fiat currency. They've created this system that's been in power for so long, they assumed forever that it would be in power for all of eternity. And Bitcoin came out 11 years ago. I didn't even have to read the rest of the article. Like, this is more than enough for all of you to really understand how insane this all actually is. You understand how fragile your country and your country's currency have to be for you to ban it and tell people they can't talk about it or they'll go to jail for 7 years? Imagine if what would happen. I assume internal talks have been, our currency is not the strongest. What Bitcoin would ravage the entire Bitcoin already is the 8th largest currency in the world. Imagine what it would do if it was freely able in these countries to play and frolic around. Anyway, that's that news. Like I said before and have mentioned many times, these things are going to happen. They're going to continue to happen in many countries around the world. Fiat currencies, as they are, cannot exist forever. Eventually, inflation reaches a certain point. Printing $7.7 trillion does take its toll. People get annoyed. People move around from it. What will end up happening is, if all the prophecies of the living in a deflationary world do come to fruition, and we live in a world where not only is Bitcoin dominant or more dominant than it currently is, but people rely on it and or buy it more than other assets because of its deflationary value, and therefore they see the value of Bitcoin going up while the value of other assets are going down. People in these countries where they're told no are going to get tired of picking potatoes and or buying chickens. If you can name that country, remember a couple of months ago, about a year ago now, there was a country who's going through massive hyperinflation, and their president said, no, it's fine. Go buy chickens and have them on your balconies. Not a joke. He said, go buy chickens so you can eat the eggs in the morning. People eventually get tired of eggs, and they retaliate, and they start buying Bitcoin, which is also now happening in that country. And that country has also buckled, once again, name that country, and they now are allowing remittances, so money going back and forth between the country in Bitcoin and Litecoin. Anyway, let's move on. And to finish things off, a Redditor recently analyzed Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust activity in the last 100 days and found out that the investment company has accumulated over 60,000 Bitcoin in its Bitcoin Trust. With the Bitcoin value at the time of reporting around, nope, that's incorrect because the price has gone down. It means the company has chipped in almost $500 million in the last 4 months alone. According to the presented table of analysis, the total number of Bitcoin in its Bitcoin Trust as of the 7th of May is around 343,954,000 Bitcoin. Breaking the figure further, the company acquired two-thirds of the entire supply of newly minted Bitcoin in the last 100 days. Two-thirds of all the Bitcoin that were created were gobbled up by this one company. I repeat, in the last 3 months, all the Bitcoin that came out of the machines was acquired by Grayscale. However, its rate of acquiring more Bitcoin assets accelerated after April, a few weeks to the 2020 halving, which is anticipated to be a catalyst in the next bull run that will fix on its all-time high. Do you understand how insane that is? What was the other news that we had from Grayscale? Grayscale had also been accumulating Ethereum in mass the last couple of months as well. What do I say? Like what more can be said? Because we know that there are other companies also accumulating as well. So once again, not only does the market not make sense, the fact that we can mathematically see, imagine a gigantic orange machine. I don't know what else to say. Imagine a huge machine that keeps spitting out oranges. We can all walk up to the machine and verify how many oranges have come out of the machine. It's a huge pile of oranges. Imagine if every single day we walk up to the orange pile and we see one company backing up their truck, taking two-thirds of every single orange that came out that day. Along the way, you pick up an orange, your friend picks up half an orange, another friend picks up another orange. You have a friend who picks up 5 oranges. He's very lucky. Everybody walks away with their oranges, and we see, like, we can mathematically see if there's one company. Do you understand how much Bitcoin that actually is? Like, we can verify and see that all the Bitcoin that actually went onto the market is gone. That's why I get annoyed and I get frustrated and I have these ranty videos, because it's not like if there was no demand for Bitcoin, I would go, maybe we should be getting out of this market. When you have one company who has purchased 66% of all the Bitcoin that came out of these machines at one time, and there are at least, logically, 15 other companies who are also in charge of hundreds, if not millions, if not a tiny billions, who are also accumulating this Bitcoin. This logically tells me probably all the Bitcoin that came out of the machines during the last forever is gone. Like, these companies are buying it and accumulating it, and they're storing it and stashing it and custodying it. Which means that the Bitcoin that are circulating right now are not really circulating. Like I mentioned before, the cryptocurrencies and the Bitcoin that's actually on these crypto exchanges, it's just sitting there. Some people do choose to just leave their Bitcoin on cryptocurrency exchanges. They may not be the safest thing. We've also had news that people have been massively taking them off the last couple of months. Like the numbers just don't add up, no matter which way you look at it. We know the demand is there. Once again, oranges. How valuable would the last 15 oranges be if we had seen out of 100,000 oranges, only 5 of them were left, and we could verify that only 5 of them were left? It's before I blow a casket, that's the Grayscale news. Yeah, it is quite obvious where all of this is going. I mean, just the actual web of information. Between Grayscale, between the people from Bakkt, who are back in the news again, between JP Morgan Chase, between the people from Ethereum, like all this accumulation that's happening, the accumulation that we also know is happening, even just if we just look at China, where it's legal to actually acquire cryptocurrencies. All the other people who are mining, like there are tons of people who are mining, and like not all miners are selling off. And even if you do have to sell off, you sell off a portion. You don't sell off the entirety of the Bitcoin that you were mining. Like they're mining Bitcoin not to like release it into the world. Go be free, financial freedom. They're keeping it for themselves. And then you can even get into the discussion of the entire renewable energy thing. Like there are tons of places who are mining cryptocurrencies who make sure that they only use renewable energy. It's their land as well, so the most they have to do is pay the land tax. Like the crypto is being mined, essentially, air quotes, for free after you pay off the solar panels and what have you. But they're not mining it for you. They're mining it for themselves. It's just always so much. I wish there was more logic in this space. I was reading the comments yesterday and people were like, don't be mad, it'll all work itself out. But it's kind of like it should have worked itself out by now. Like people keep doing your own research, work on your brain. I don't really know what else to say. It's just more of I'm sure in 5 years when I'm in the Bahamas somewhere, I'll be laughing about all this. But at the moment, it's just a lot. It's just the entire space is very illogical. The point is, one company, 2/3 of all the Bitcoin. Significant. Here's the actual Reddit post. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but there are tons of these where people are actually going through the numbers. And I just want people to understand there's not a lot of Bitcoin floating around out there, but it is what it is. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Utopia 569, Yasha Harari, Moonman High XRP, The Pothead, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Chongololo Zongololo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysig, Mohameroni, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D. Ow. Bit myself. Nicholas, One Earth, One Peace, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick, Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Man, Jalavodi, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, his chest every day, and Kyle skips leg day. Yes to crypto. Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the new channel. Thank you to everyone who is a member of this channel, and thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. At the Memento, Bitcoin is currently at $9,097. It's exactly where it was before I started the video. Okay, now it's moved up. $9,098. Ethereum is currently at 202, so we're still above that $200 trend line that so many people kept on saying was quite important. It happened. It has happened. Tether is officially number 3 right now, and I assume this has had to do with the drop in price of ZERP over the last couple of hours. That's okay. XRP has had a surge in price, at least at the time of me making this video. I assume once again this has to do with the Bitcoin effect. When you see that other things are nearing your numbers, or getting near you, or could be moving past you, you move up in price. And I assume this is what XRP is currently doing at the moment. Where's OmiseGO? It'll be very blatantly obvious when you see it. There we go. OmiseGO is currently up by 57%. It's at $1.92. It's coin number 34. Welcome back. It had fallen into obscurity for quite a while. So if any of you bought that dip, then even the Satoshi price is up by 61% right now. That's absolutely insane. Very weird market. I'm going to assume, now this is an assumption, this is not a prophecy of sorts, that we are probably going to see another movement down. It is Friday. I'm going to assume prices will dip again. We'll get news around Sunday that it is just the market trend, that it had to happen. But I assume it's going to be one of those really weird, like straight dips down, like not an actual normal dip, like nothing like an actual sad movement. It's going to be a straight drop down. We're going to hear that it was necessary. We're going to start getting articles about Monday or Tuesday about an $80 to $100 Bitcoin. Could we be seeing 7,000 again? It's all complete nonsense. Bitcoin is it's the most undervalued asset probably on the planet right now, just based off of logic and numbers. If we didn't know that 50 million people around the world didn't have Bitcoin addresses, well, gosh darn it, Bitcoin's worth nothing. If we didn't know that major institutions were buying up as much Bitcoin as possible, Bitcoin has no value. If we didn't know, even if we just hone in on one country, 40 banks in Germany are trying to buy, sell, hold, and trade, even if you just use those 40 banks. Logically, the big money's in the space. The price is probably being pushed and or hampered down in an attempt to shake the trees, wash out the poor people, whatever sentence you kind of want to use, to get the people who should not be in the market, air quotes, out of the market. Well, it's clearly working. Anyway, that is definitely going to do it for this video. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Hope you all have a great Friday. Hope you all have a great end of the week. I mean, Fridays have that, Fridays always have like little magical feeling to them whenever it's Friday. Hope you all enjoy it. Thank you all, every single one of you, once again, for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.